of my name. Okay, so this is going live on
Yes, on
Shakulat's page.
Facebook. Yes, exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, let me
And
just
we're
check out
actually
that
up, so
page.
we can start.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Designer Diaries. And today we have another well-renowned designer, fashion designer with us today, Yasisuri Kiri Bandara. And before we begin, just to let you know that this series is sponsored by Informatics Institute of Technology. And if we can play their video now. So IIT offers Fashion Business Masters, which is the only fashion business masters offered in Southeast Asia. And yeah, and it's offered by one of UK's top-ranking fashion schools. It's an internal qualification offered by the University of Westminster. The program graduates range from influential brands such as Marks and Spencer, Hermes, Prada, and other well-renowned brands. The lectures are conducted by academically and industry experienced eminent lecture panels, and students are given practical experience into business organizations through guest lecturers, workshops, industry visits, and this course will equip you with the strategic decision making, leadership, and problem solving skills you will need to become an entrepreneurial and visionary fashion business leader of the future. It continues the university's fashion tradition of a commitment to excellence in developing high quality, talented, and committed professional fashion graduates. You get to work closely with the professionals of the fashion industry who will be like your role models and mentors, and you will receive a lot of relevant, well-grounded, high-quality education and skill base that will enable you to have a wider, clearer understanding of the business that you're already involved in. So that's a little bit about our sponsors. And to introduce to you our guest speaker for today, Yasisuri Kiribandara. She's a renowned fashion designer. She's also an entrepreneur and founder of a number of award-winning businesses. She has represented Sri Lanka on international platforms, and I'm sure that you will be able to benefit if you're someone aspiring to be a fashion designer, or you are already one and trying to ground yourself in this industry. I'm sure you'll really benefit from the expertise and input that she has to share with you today. So just to begin, just tell us a little bit about why you decided to get into the industry of fashion design, how it all began.
Well, thank you once again. First of all, I want to thank Michelle and the team for inviting me. to share like my experience so that someone will benefit from it. To begin with, I think it started with college,
Mhm.
which I think education is the most important factor. I studied at AODE, did my first degree there, and well, after that, I was headhunted by Brandix,
Mhm.
and the why I started, I really don't know. I've always loved fashion. There's never been anything that I wanted to do more.
Mhm.
And there wasn't so many colleges at that time when I was studying
Yeah.
that were really renowned. So this was the college that everybody recommended, and this was the college I went to at that point. And there was no master's degree that was offered at that point. So obviously studied because I loved it and because I had a passion for it.
So you always
Started
wanted to get into fashion as a child.
always. There's
Okay, that's
never.
nice.
Um, I was looking for opportunities, I guess. So when I found it, I just jumped at it. I didn't think twice.
Okay. So you mentioned that there weren't, when you started, there weren't a lot of institutes and courses to
Yes,
begin with. What
yes.
other challenges did you have to face when you had to get into design? Were there challenges or obstacles coming from your family or like in terms of society and things like that? What are some of the major challenges that you had to face?
I guess there weren't so many. It was just how society perceived a designer at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking in the late 2000, like around 2005, 2004, around that time. And fashion wasn't so prevalent in Colombo as much as it is now. Fashion wasn't so active. Everybody thought that when you, even including myself, although I wanted to start my own brand, we were sort of pushed in the direction of working for the garment industry.
Okay.
So everybody thought, okay, fine, if you're studying fashion, you need to join one of the major companies that are exporting fashion, and that's like the only thing that was happening at that point. Being an entrepreneur was at the back of my head, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't really like yes, I could do it because the environment was not really conducive for it at that time. The war was going on.
Yeah.
It was towards the end of the war, actually, so it was pretty bad. And everybody thought a designer was somebody like an extension of a tailor.
Okay.
So people didn't really understand what designing was. People didn't understand the value that design and creativity actually brought into a business or a brand, or even the potential that it could be in terms of creating revenue or creating value, even for a clothing brand.
Yeah.
So I guess it has been a long way since from that time.
How do you think the landscape of the industry of fashion design has changed in our country since then?
I think there's been a huge change, a huge difference. There's been
Yeah.
a massive awareness during the last 10 years, thanks to all the colleges, the fashion weeks, the shows, not just in terms of fashion, but also the fact that there have been so many avenues in fashion, like bridal, so many brands that are coming out. So there is actually a market, and the way people think about it is completely changed.
Mhm.
And now there's awareness. I'm not too sure about away from Colombo, but at least within Colombo, there's awareness.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yes. Also, you mentioned that back when you started, it was a norm for any fashion designer to get into just the garment industry. So, what really
Mm.
pushed you to take that step to start your own label and start your own business, your own brand?
I guess after I worked in the garment industry for about seven, I think almost 7 years, I was in the garment industry. And then I climbed the ladder. I worked hard, and I felt that I had a certain amount of knowledge, a
Mm-hmm.
certain amount of experience that I could now take this and actually take the leap. And this would probably obviously give me a better footing and make me a stronger designer if I started the business now. So there was this one point that was sort of like an epiphany. It's like, that aha moment when
Yeah.
you feel like you're ready to actually take the plunge. This is my journey. I mean, I know nowadays that a lot of young people, when straight out of college, they start businesses. And I think if you're ready, there's no time as such for it. It's just that you should feel you're ready for it, and you should feel that you have all that you need to actually be successful.
Yeah, because it's not just about starting the business, it's about sustaining it as well, right? Um,
Exactly.
so, what were some of the challenges that you faced? And if you can tell us a little bit about what steps, how you started your own brand.
Uh, okay. So when I first started my business, I launched at Colombo Fashion Week
Mm-hmm.
with my first brand, Yasisuri. That was 2014,
Okay.
2014 February. And then I won the Gen Next Award for the Best Newcomer that year. And that sort of gave that, winning that award sort of gave this huge footing
Boost.
and awareness, yeah, boost into my business. And then from then onwards, I expanded into bridals. I
Mm-hmm.
expanded into, then orders started coming in. So it was sort of an organic move. It wasn't really, yes, I did strategize, but I didn't strategize majorly into the future. I kind of went along with how the market moved. And that's the sort of business person I am. Um, because when I see opportunity, I go for it. And that's something I've been doing. And from one point to another, from one point to another. So I started Yasasuri in 2014. Then I launched my bridal business at the designer wedding show in
Mm-hmm.
2016. Then I had this other low-end brand called Onira, which we started in 2013. It didn't really work out, so I closed it up. And
Okay.
then I restarted a low-end brand this year, actually, just a few months ago, called Y Brand,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like the market is really moving in that area now. Because with COVID and everything that's going on, there's not so many events, not so many weddings. So that area is sort of a little bit stagnant at the moment. So I'm looking
Yeah.
at other avenues as well. Then 2018, I launched my own college where I teach couture and bridal designing. That's another
Mm-hmm.
area as well. So you could say I've sort of branched out into different areas, which are all under the same flagship or same um, sort of umbrella.
Okay. So you've mentioned that you've started not just one brand, but you've got into a number of businesses. So do you have any qualification or any experience or any background in business management, or how
In
do you how did you harness that side of you?
Okay. That came from mainly from my experience of working in the garment industry.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started, I was only I was into designing and development. And then as I moved up, I went into merchandising. I went into managing brands. I used to work with buyers overseas directly. So that came with a lot of exposure that I received from the garment industry itself. It was very tough, but I'm very grateful because that enabled me to be a multitasker, that enabled
Mm-hmm.
me to work under a lot of pressure, that enabled me to sort of withstand storms without falling, especially during like the last year we faced.
Yeah.
Suddenly, when you have to go through, like, weddings were just like cancelled, and I had overseas weddings, and
Oh.
my buyers can't even come to Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So so imagine that. So in a situation like that, when you're faced with certain blocks, it's very
Hmm.
easy as an entrepreneur to kind of feel very discouraged, or to kind of feel like, oh my god, what's going to happen, but it's out of your control. So I believe building that groundwork really helped. So that is something I would recommend anybody,
Mm-hmm.
rather than going straight out of college into starting a business. If you are looking at building something that is going to last long, that will
Yeah.
weather the storms,
Because I'm
then
guessing that a lot of fashion designers, they could have the best designing skills. They could be the most creative person out there, but if they don't really have the experience to sustain their business or promote their label, then they're not going to last long.
Yes,
So
definitely.
what do you recommend that someone starting new, someone looking to start their own label, how they can gain experience? Should they study, maybe do a small
Yeah,
course in business
yeah.
management, or is it just work experience, an internship maybe? What do you recommend?
Well, I would think do what works for you. If
Mm-hmm.
education, yes, definitely you need to have education, and that would support. In my case, for me it was work experience plus education that came afterwards, which right now has halfway stopped
Okay.
because I did start an MBA. Yes,
Mhm.
and but these days I'm like running around with my work, so that has kind of taken a back foot. But yes, definitely education and experience. I would say don't give in to just one, but kind of have a balance between both. Because there are certain things that education can teach you that experience cannot, and certain things that experience can teach you that education cannot.
So you need a bit of both, actually.
Yes, yes, definitely balance.
Okay. So if we talk about, you spoke about how these days, especially certain um, areas in the fashion industry are a little stagnant, especially because of the pandemic and all that. So how would you advise someone to pre-plan in order to adjust and adapt to difficult circumstances, to kind of foresee what and plan accordingly?
Well, something like what we faced last year or what you're facing at the moment, I don't think that's an environmental uh,
Yeah, you
issue.
can't really
That's something
foresee
that is
it. Yeah.
external. You really, I mean, natural disasters,
Hmm.
you really, illnesses, you really cannot foresee stuff like that. But as a
Hmm.
business, I think it's wise to kind of have a 5 year plan, a 2 year plan, a 10 year plan. Like the business I started this year is something that was in the making for 2 years. I was procrastinating because I was so stuck with actually functioning in my other areas. So I was pushing this back, I was pushing this back, but the groundwork was laid very slowly but surely. So when the opportunity came, I grabbed at it, I jumped at it. So I'm not going to stop at that. I'm going to keep working on my next level and my next level and my next level. And when it comes to finances, that's another thing. You have to be very smart
Yes.
with your financial planning. A lot of businesses kind of, and that's a mistake I made as well. In the beginning, I kind of put in a lot of money right at the beginning. And yes, you need to
Hmm.
invest right in the beginning a lot. But after a while, you sort of need to really strategize and plan out your finances in such a way that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. You don't spend everything you have. You don't go on a promotional frenzy kind of thing,
Mhm.
uh, doing show after show, collection after collection, without vetting it and then checking what's coming back and how it's coming back. And starting stores right away. I still haven't started the store. I'm still working from my atelier. I'm very low profile when it comes to my expenses because I have very unorthodox methods of working, and I've developed my own strategies in
Hmm.
developing my business. So each designer or each business might have a certain personality that they want to develop, almost like a person. Like if you see, if I see Tabitha, I would say, okay, this is her personality. This is the kind of
Hmm.
person she is,
Would you call it
and
personal
that's
branding or?
personal branding is part of it, but not
Mhm.
really. Your brand or your label has its own voice,
Yes.
and that voice is an extension of the founder, yes. But if I take my Yasasuri brand versus the Couture brand, they're completely two different voices altogether. And then if I take Y brand or if I take the college, again, completely different
Hmm.
voices. So yes, they're all extensions of me, but they've all got their own little niche area and niche category that they deal with. None of these brands are mass market. I am not a mass market designer at any point. All my brands are very niche. I like to work with niche markets. I like to work with people face to face, upfront, build relationships. because that's the kind of person I am. And
Okay.
that's an extension of me. And likewise, the people I work with. So even if I work with Michelle or you guys, it's very personal.
Mm.
So that's how I build my business. So every designer needs to first think, okay, how am I going to look at this, and how am I going to plan, and do I need to go? Yes, trends are important. I'm not saying no. And social media, it's crazy now.
Yeah.
Everything is online. Everything is TikTok. I've been trying my little TikToks as well here and there. So it's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
the 20-year-olds and the whole frenzy that's going on, right? And it's cool, it's fun, I really enjoy it. And you know what, that's the best thing, that you can do all this stuff and that is not, it doesn't cost you anything.
Yes.
um,
Free marketing, free branding.
exactly. So stuff like that, I think you can really use to your advantage when you're doing a business, which is really awesome.
So you mentioned people
um,
skills. Sorry, were you trying to say something?
yeah, sorry, no, I was waiting for your question.
Yeah, so you mentioned
Yeah.
people skills. How important do you think are people skills for a fashion designer, and what are some other soft skills that a fashion design student should maybe develop on and work on during their time as while they're building to be a
Okay,
designer?
so people skills are very important when it comes to any area of
Yeah.
business. Um, but as a designer, something I can tell you is that a lot of designers, myself included, are extreme introverts. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am an extreme introvert.
Okay.
I hate to go out. I hate partying. I hate to go to events. And I'm not that person. And there was a time when I first started the business, I kind of forced myself to go out there and go be seen. Every week, I'll go for like 2, 3 events. And after a while, I sort of burnt out. It gave
Yeah.
me a lot of exposure. It gave me a lot of face because people saw me, and then that brought in business. I'm not saying it didn't work. It was awesome. But it didn't, it burnt me out in the process. And then sooner or later, I kind of decided to strike a balance where I go for certain things and then I don't go for certain things. Because I know that a lot of designers, I mean, being creative means you're an introvert, it's natural. So you have to kind of find that balance and
Mm-hmm.
fight through your introverted issues to try and be as extroverted as possible when needed, because it's good for your business.
Somehow make your
And
voice heard, I guess.
yes, and when it
Yeah.
comes to soft skills, speaking, public speaking, very important. Eloquence,
Mm-hmm.
very important. Being able to write a press release, writing certain writing skills, apart from the obvious skills that are required for a designer.
Yeah.
Um, knowing your trade, knowing how media works, knowing how trends in the market works, certain HR skills, very important, and keeping your own accounts in the beginning. That I would say it's not a soft skill; it's like a must.
Must.
Yeah, it's a must. And a lot of entrepreneurs hate this. A lot of designers specifically hate, like, okay, sitting down and doing your accounts. But I would say it's really, really important.
Yeah. Also, speaking of accounts and finances and things like that, just say someone wants to begin their own label and they're really determined to do so, but they don't really have they feel like they don't really have the finances to start a business as such. What advice would you give someone like in that position?
Hmm. Okay, so I would say there are labels that I started with a lot of investment, and there are
Mm-hmm.
labels I started with a minimum investment.
Okay.
Start with what you have. What matters now, this depends on where and how you want to place your product and how you want to market. In the age of social media, I think we can go through a lot of barriers. um, you have your Instagram, you have your Facebook, you have your TikTok. You can just put up your products, you can do little videos and gain awareness. You can work with an influencer friend, gain awareness, right? I don't think you really need a massive budget to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's also wise not to begin with a massive budget, because at the
Okay.
beginning, you're not really aware of the factors that really are important. Like you need money to keep inventory. You need money for your production. You need money for your back end, for your machinery, for your place, more than the other things. So there are things, and for your people, for your salaries, for your bills, for your electricity, your all your phone bills. My God, so your traveling, your transportation, all those things. So in the beginning, I think it's wise that you start small. I would recommend that to any new entrepreneur, not to put in a lot of finances until you kind of get your footing. And then
Okay.
once you start wading your way into the water and you kind of get like a better feel, then you can start pumping in more and more. And obviously, if you're going in the right direction, the finances are coming anyways.
Yes.
So you can sort of put it back into the business, put it back into the business. For the first year, I kind of didn't take anything from the business. I just kept putting it back, putting it back. And then now when I start little branches here and there, that's all coming from that first business I started. It's not
Okay.
coming in from something that my mom gave, or initially my
Mm.
mom gave me, and some of the money that I had saved, my mother and my grandmother, they both gave me. Um, so it was friends and family to begin with. And after a while, it was self-sustaining. So if you're doing something right, and then you find your own little niche or your own little space, then it will keep working on its own. So you don't really need to do much. Uh, the biggest advice that I can give any entrepreneur that is starting out their business is to be true to themselves,
Okay.
true to their
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
Be it a designer or any other business. You want to change the world, which is why you start something. You want to be somebody who makes a difference. You want to not be somebody who works for someone and takes a salary at the end of the day and then your life is done. You want to have a voice. But why do you want to have the voice? Why do you want to do it? That only you know. And
Yeah.
what you want to give to the world, that's you. And there's only one. So that's the greatest advice that I would give any entrepreneur.
Yeah. And do you think it's important for a designers to figure out what kind of niche market they want to design for, whether it's bridal or something else? Is it important to decide that beforehand, or just go with the flow and see what works for you?
Well, I mean, when you're in college and you're studying, or even before college, you would know what you like and what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say play your strengths.
Okay.
Play your strengths. Start with what you're good at. And then build your strengths. If you feel that you're really good at intricate detailing and intricate designing, your eye goes to really tiny details and a lot of, then create garments, be it bridal or evening wear or anything that you want to do. Create garments with that kind of voice. And
Okay.
then if you feel, okay, now I want to start a high street brand, I want to start a hip hop brand, let's say for streetwear. But I am a designer who does niche, high-end couture kind of design. So how do I do streetwear? I need to
Yeah.
build that. Then
Mm.
what I would do is I would then first accumulate those skills, research, work, create, sample, do whatever it takes, go to college, I don't know, whatever it takes to accumulate those skills that would be required for such a brand. Then move in that direction. Don't
Okay.
just move in that direction without collecting your armor, I would say.
Yeah.
Collect your
Equip
armor.
yourself beforehand, basically. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
So say someone watching is still is someone who's still going to school and kind of wants to be a fashion designer but is not sure. And also, even though we've come quite far in society in terms of how people think of the fashion industry and things like that, still a lot of parents are a little reluctant to allow their children to get into creative industries. So what kind of how would you advise someone in that position, like who is not really sure whether this is the industry for them? What signs would they be able to pick on to identify that, okay, I'll make it through, I'll be able to commit to this industry or this job or these studies that I'm going to take on?
Wow, that's a big one. I don't think you'll ever know 100%
Mhm.
until you try.
Okay.
But if you're worried about the industry as a whole, and yes, there's still a taboo sort of personality behind it because it's fashion,
Yeah.
um, and that's something that I personally do with my businesses and my
Mhm.
students as well. Is that I tell them, look, this is just hard work. You have 5 minutes in the spotlight whenever you do a show. But other than that, it's just years and years and years of sweat and blood and tears. And if you are not ready to put in that, you should not be a designer, because a lot of people get so caught up in the glitz and the glamour of it without
True.
realizing that it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
It's a skill based job. It's a creative plus skill, because creativity is the sketch or the design that you conceptualize, but the skill is actually making it come to life. So
Mhm.
there are a lot of skills that you need to accumulate on the way, from your pattern making to your sewing to your business skills, your marketing skills, understanding trends, understanding markets, understanding color, so many things.
Yeah.
How to actually clothe the person and how to change this person's outlook by what you are creating. So unless you actually push yourself in the direction, I don't think you'll ever know. But I think now the taboo factor is sort of reducing, because
Yes,
people are
definitely.
realizing, they are being more aware of what the global markets are, how much designers, how many jobs they provide, how much revenue they bring into the country,
Mm.
um, how much joy that a garment can create. So it's on many levels.
Yeah.
And in Sri Lanka, I think fashion and when you come to fashion, I think in Sri Lanka, bridal is at the pinnacle.
Mhm.
Um, Not so much in evening wear. I mean, yes, we do have our niche clientele, but if it comes to brides, I think everybody spends a lot and really goes for something unique when it comes to their weddings. So in Sri Lanka, that's like the pinnacle. And
Okay.
there's a lot of revenue, there are a lot of jobs. If you really work hard, you can be successful. So that's another worry they have, I think, the success
Yeah.
factor.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say, especially whether you're a guy or a girl, it really doesn't matter. Success is something that is measured by certain factors like, okay, financial, social, uh, self fulfillment, different levels, right?
Yeah.
So I would say being an entrepreneur, it kind of covers every level, but just like anything else, you need to put in the groundwork.
Yes.
Without the groundwork, the education, the experience, it's not going to come free.
Yeah, and I guess for that also you need to have some level of passion to it. It's others you're not going to be able to put in that groundwork.
Yeah,
Also, yeah,
absolutely.
Sisuri, so you've won a lot of awards and you've also represented Sri Lanka in international platforms. So what were some of tell us a little bit about that experience, how you got the chance, the opportunity to represent Sri Lanka, what really happened there?
That was awesome, actually. The Global Entrepreneurship Summit. I think you're referring to
Yes,
that, right?
yes, yes.
So GES happens every year at a
Mm-hmm.
location which is initiated by then President Obama, because I went
Okay.
in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
and they take like upcoming entrepreneurs from all over the world, and they put all of us together in this one place, and they put us through this intense week or two of training, and then it sort of continues afterwards as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we go through this amazing exposure into amazing entrepreneurs. Like, we had the opportunity of being in the same room as the president himself, Mark Zuckerberg. I can't even
Wow.
remember because it was like
Okay. Did you take
crazy.
pictures?
So it's just, you're like, absolutely, yes, it's all over on my Facebook.
Okay.
And there's a folder.
Okay.
And it was surreal, and
Mhm.
it was chosen. Okay, it was through application,
Okay.
and then you had to write your own business plan. So I wrote, like, there was this 10-page business plan that you had to write.
Okay.
And then I submitted my business plan of what I wanted to do in the future, and how I want to, like, what I want to create, and as a designer, what I want to do. So they really loved my ideas, and that's how I got chosen. And
Okay.
out of GES also, like, GES is like 1,000+ people. There were 100 that was chosen from every country. So like one person from each country, 100 people. So
Oh,
I was the
okay.
person from Sri Lanka that was chosen from Sri Lanka. So that was
That's
even more
amazing.
special.
Yeah.
And there were
Yeah.
only 2 designers. So this is even
Okay.
better. There were only 2 designers in the whole thing, and I was one of them.
Oh, so
The
it's
other one
not
was
like
from
a designers summit. No, it's just entrepreneurs.
everybody.
Oh, wow.
It's
Okay.
all, I mean, you name it. Be people who are into IT, or people who are into um, finance, tech, whatever, every area. So it kind of really opens up your mind. That kind of exposure, the connections you make, the contacts you make, really blows your mind. So that was through the US Embassy and the Women's Chamber. So they were the ones who sort of pushed me in that direction and said, why don't you apply and see, and put in your business plan and see what will happen.
So
So
what were
that
some
was,
of your biggest takeaways from that experience?
I think I learned to really plan out my businesses in such a way
Mm-hmm.
that I sort of, before that, I was always in the limelight. Like, I was always so focused on press and shows and all that. And I think I sort of moved my business in a different direction altogether, and started diversifying and planning it in such a way um, that it yielded more. Let me put it in that way. So it was not so much the voice out there, but more like what we did in here. And 90% of the time, the work we do with, like, the people overseas, that the contacts we've made, um, which, these days it really works well.
Yeah.
Praise God. So things like that, I think, as an entrepreneur, you really need to look at um, options rather than what everybody is doing. Do
Yes.
that too. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying don't do that. Do that too. Do the pomp, do the show, do the whole thing, but find your other little avenues too, keeping your knowledge intact, how you can really strategize and capitalize on it. I think that is very, very important.
Would you say this is like a turning point in your business?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I learned so much. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Okay, so is there anything else that you'd like to talk about? Anything else that you'd like to mention to any
Mm,
aspiring fashion designer watching today or watching later even?
well, all I would say is I would encourage them, and
Mhm.
I would definitely say that the world needs more entrepreneurs, and the
Yes.
world needs solution providers,
Mhm.
and the world needs young people to come forward, being environmentally conscious,
Mhm.
and being conscious of women, especially being a woman. And this is something that I talk about all the time.
Okay.
Um, and how we should empower other women to come
Yes,
forward
definitely. Yeah.
and start their own businesses, work, put yourself out there, be strong, and help whoever you can help along the way.
Yeah.
And I would really, really think that that would be really awesome. And if anyone wants any help or advice or support, if it is within my grasp to help, I would be happy to help.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think we've come to the end of this discussion.
Thank you.
Thanks again to our sponsors, IIT, for sponsoring this series. And we've come to the end of yet another episode of Designer Diaries. Again, thank you, Yasisuri. I'm sure everyone who's watched will really benefit from your wisdom and guidance. Thanks
Thank you
again
so
for
much.
watching. Yes. See you again at the next episode of Designer Diaries.